In this video, we're going to cover a subject that a lot of people get really cross about.
Landlords entering the property.
Now, I'm just going to pick up this contract now so as I get it verbatim. Okay, on most of the contracts in Malta, you'll find a clause saying that the lessor has the right to inspect the property at any time throughout your tenancy. And this is good. If I was renting a property, which I have done in the past, I would like to be able to make sure that everything is in order and that the tenants are being respectful of my property. What the landlord cannot do is enter the property when you're not at home. They have to give you at least 24 hours notice. You should not have to take time off work to do this. This seems to be a bigger issue for, let's say, the slightly cheaper properties in Malta, where the landlord insists that every time they come to pick up their cash payment, they want to look round. Now, if you're a mother with young children and they've come to pick up the rent, the last thing you're thinking about is getting cleaned up before your landlord comes. We all know what it's like. There's dishes in the sink. The place cannot be pristine all the time. Don't panic about it. 24 hours, 48 hours, this is good. That leads me to the second issue, where a lot of clauses in the contract will say that friends and relatives, overnight guests, people who just come for dinner and end up staying over, a lot of the contracts will say that you have to advise your landlord. That is an absolute nonsense. You are entitled to enjoy the privacy of your home, because it is your home, while you're living there and paying rent. The landlord may own it, but you are entitled to enjoy your privacy. If your mum's coming for 2 weeks, it's nothing to do with the landlord. Don't feel that you have to give the landlord the ID number or the residency card number or the passport number of your mother, father, aunt, your best friend who's decided to stay over. That is not right. Make sure that clause doesn't appear in your contract. And that happens all the time. It does. I had one situation, a really nice guy, he was living in St. Julian's, and he called me and said, "Patricia, I do not believe my landlord has just knocked on my door and embarrassed me completely by asking my flatmate's friend for their residency card, their passport, and how long they were going to stay there." This happens. It's your home. It is your primary residence in Malta. Respect the fact the landlord owns it, but respect is a two-way street. Yes? In another situation, the girlfriend of the couple that were renting the property was actually in the shower, and she turned around and it was like something out of a movie. The landlady was standing there. The landlord cannot just use his key, her key, and come in. "I rang the bell 2 or 3 times, you didn't answer." "Hello, I was in the shower." You have to, without being rude, you just need to explain to the landlord, "We can't be available at all hours. This is our home. Let us enjoy it peaceably." 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had a situation where the family in question knew that their electricity and water bills were crazy high. They reported it to the landlord said there was no issue. I asked them to find their electricity meter and their water meter, which so happened to be in their apartment, and they got into them and they read them. The meter readings were way too high. Her husband, being smart, decided to trace the wires, and it turns out that not only were they paying for their electricity and water, but they were also paying for the electricity of the landlord who lived in the apartment behind them. That's something else that you have to take care of, and make sure that you take your own readings so this can't happen to you, and it does. You have no idea who's living next door. If your readings are too high, that's the first place to look.
It should be for crying, but actually it's Still having a great laugh.
Julia keeps saying to me that I should write a book. There are so many. You saw that one last week and they owned the property. Somebody was building on top and they took the air conditioners out. They removed the air conditioning units off the roof. I thought, what the? There is one more thing that you might want to be cautious with. Some of the contracts, and I can understand this. I wish my landlord had done it, but never mind. Some of the landlords will insist that you have a cleaner come in every 2 weeks. They might also insist that it be their cleaner. Now, if you're in a country where you don't know the people, you haven't settled in yet, I don't know how comfortable you are going to be with somebody you don't know coming in while you're not there to clean the property. That's entirely up to you. Personally, somebody coming in to clean my house for 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, I would be very happy with that. But no, I would be there. You have to make a decision on that clause in the contract, whether you want somebody intruding into your private space. If you don't like it, it's simple, you cross it out on the contract. You could then agree, because the landlord wants to make sure that his investment is being kept properly, you could actually decide to interview and hire a cleaner or a company. There are so many companies in Malta that you have to trust. You know, they're insured, they're good companies. Take a go with one of them while you're there and see what happens. But you don't have to accept the landlord's maid. A lot of tenants say it feels like snooping. As long as the property's clean and tidy, you can decide. I think that's possibly all I can say on your privacy. You are entitled to that privacy. Thank you for now, and tune in for our next advisory video. Like and subscribe, please. And don't forget that we have got a PayPal account if you want to help us out. I will explain shortly what that help out means. Thank you.